Hi, it's Donnie Abel from Abel Wellness. We're going to be going over some released hand and forearm techniques today using the various props that I have for you that you could possibly use. You have some Chihuahua small tennis balls. These are a spiky ball that's cut in half, so never throw those away. And then your regular spiky ball. And you can use all kinds of stuff, and then just a little squishy, almost like a rubber ball. And then you can even use a hand towel. So with release work, this type of work is really, really good for people that's been on the computer all day, you know, sitting with their hands in this position, anybody's been driving, any type of sport related things where you're having to grasp things constantly over and over again. So to start this off here, I'm just going to put on some couple trusty things I like to use. Rub that in just a little bit. Heat works really, really good for getting heat into the tissue, like the tissue expand and become very pliable. So we got to think of our tissue kind of like putty or bubble gum. If the bubble gum is like really, take it out of the wrapper, you set it down, it's really hard. How are you going to blow bubbles with that? So you want to you know, somehow use have a way of heating that tissue up. And we find that release work, acupressure work, there's trigger points, there's a lot of names that you can be that's used for it, actually goes beyond stretching. So you could take say a small ball like this, and you could start rolling right through the wrist. You just have your hand, the ball underneath, like so, and just roll right across the joint line of the wrist. I find that works really good for me. As I'm doing that, I could actually raise a finger up or raise my fingers and spread them up and move them around while I'm doing that. I could roll across the hand. And if I'm not really finding, you know, like if I want to cover maybe more of a bigger area, I could use maybe a bigger ball, like such as a spiky ball here. But I need to take close notice of what's going on in my hand. If I'm rolling across the area and I'm finding like a little tender spot, then maybe I want to say use, come back a little bit later and use or right after this and use a smaller ball. So say for example, I was rolling through here and I found a good spot. So after I finish rolling with the spiky ball, and you can even go over your fingers, make sure you do that. Don't leave those out in your thumb. After I finish that, I remember that spot was out there. I could take a ball and put it right in there and put a little more pressure down into it and kind of work into the little cracks and crannies that are right in that little area there. And just apply a little pressure. And I want to make sure I'm breathing too. So I want to take an inhale through the nose, exhale out through the mouth when I'm doing this. And then hold it for a cycle to a breath and see if it doesn't release out. If not, you can come back over a little bit. You typically don't want to be on a spot for more than about 30 to 60 seconds. Rule of thumb, because we don't want it to tighten back up. So then from there I can even take the hand, even the palm of my hand, and roll on the ball too. So that, you know, anyways, creating sensation and blood flow to the area that I'm trying to wake up or to calm down, all the above. So then from there, after the hand feels pretty good, I'll move up to the forearm and I'll lay my hand on top and I'll just put whatever amount of pressure you want into that. For those people that really like to put a lot of pressure into it, even that, be very careful. A little bit goes a long way. You know, like right into where the forearm meets the elbow right there. It really is a good spot for me on the inside. And then that feels like it's released out some. And you can just roll back and forth, like I said, and just find these areas that are a little bit tensed up on you. And then kind of see how that feels, and you lay it on top. So then you start the bottom part. This is a little bit easier on the here, because then you can put your weight down on the ball. And as I'm doing that, I can use my fingers, I can open and close my hand, I can rotate my hand through different patterns of movement. Biomechanically, that works great for the release as well. If you can do some of that, I can move the hand up and down. I'm just putting a lot, you know, the amount of pressure that I can tolerate. With a spiky ball, you typically have little dots left over, little imprints, so you have your tribal tattooing there. That will go away after a while. And you know, can always go back over to kind of massage into it. So these are just some of the simplest things you can do. Obviously, you need to go over to the other side and do the same work. And it shouldn't take you no more than about 4 or 5 minutes to run through it. I could actually go a lot quicker than I just did. And then after you get done, your hand should feel wonderful. You could go through some of your traditional stretching afterwards if you wanted to follow up with that. This again is Donnie Abel from Abel Wellness. Have a wonderful day.